to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock in Washington, D.C., United States of America, bringing you the information about what is happening around the globe as far as the alternative fuel and the most fuel-efficient vehicles. As you know from our program, we're looking at the best practices from many different areas, whether it's in agriculture, in health, in education, and many other areas. But one thing that we need to address on a very realistic basis is public transportation. And when we say public transportation, it's both for the family and how they're able to transport their goods and families, and then also for the public in general. And we have a very unique opportunity where the federal government, the embassies, and then also WANADA, which is the Washington Area New Dealership Association, is putting on the International Automobile Show with a special emphasis on alternative fuel and fuel-efficient cars. And this is the first year where you have a real emphasis, a real focus on this. And we have a gentleman here who's been very active in the automobile dealership business, I think before he was actually born, if I understand from his family. He's been at this for a long time. But Kevin Reilly is the general manager and owner of Alexandria Hyundai. Rhymes with Sunday. I remember the old ad. So
absolutely correct.
I passed that test, Kevin. And welcome to the show, the Emerald Planet.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are the next generation, which having started one of the Automobile Dealer Management Association certificate programs many years ago in Virginia, that's taking over from your father, and many companies have 3 and 4 generations involved. And you've seen a lot of change over these years, and particularly with Hyundai itself, and we're going to get to that story. And then also, for full disclosure, he's on the board for the International Auto Show. So we thank you for your dedication, your hard work on that. But tell us a little bit about the changes that you've seen over these years that you've been involved in the industry from childhood all the way through to right now.
Well, it's interesting as you take a look at perhaps Hyundai, the industry, and the auto show. All 3 of those categories have undergone a metamorphosis. As we take a look at the industry, I started washing Lincoln Town cars back in 1982 when I was 13 years old. So you could see very large cars, very non-fuel efficient vehicles, and you've really seen the technology grow by leaps and bounds, similar to what we see in computers now in terms of the advancement in technology in much shorter time periods. So too do you see that in the vehicles that we now produce, and that's very exciting for the industry.
Well, and one of the things we keep talking about, mature industries, and many people, automobiles and food processing and all that goes right into that. But actually, if you look at what's been going on the last 30 years, is that the automobile industry actually is probably one of the most proactive and most dynamic as far as using new technologies, not only to produce the automobiles, but also what goes into the automobiles. So what kind of change, Kevin, have you seen over these years as far as the technologies producing and the technologies in the automobiles themselves?
Well, and that's where we could dovetail into Hyundai's success in that regard, because really the technologies that you see in these vehicles are consumer driven. The manufacturers are doing an excellent job. We talk about best practices of going out, finding what the consumers want, and how do we incorporate that in a rather short time period into the vehicles to make the driving experience better for them, make a safer vehicle, and ultimately a more fuel efficient vehicle.
Now, looking at the work that you've been doing, of course, this year we have 3 major agencies of the federal government, the EPA, transportation and energy are going to be involved in this, and of course being involved with the board. Also, you have the embassies because many of the countries now, the Germans, the Chinese, the Indians, many others are displaying here. How are you able to tie all this together so it's a coherent whole, and you don't have people competing and saying, "Oh, we're doing this in China," and forget what's going on in the United States, and vice versa? How do you bring all these together so we really are addressing this whole notion of fuel efficiency, alternative fuels, and what's best for the buying public?
Well, I think you can actually see it in the show itself, and I'll answer your question about putting technology on the forefront. Sometimes when you go to shows such as this, the technology component or the fuel efficiency component, those components can be cordoned off in an area not that accessible by the public. When you come to the Washington, D.C. Auto Show, when you come down to the main exhibit area, first and foremost, you're going to see 65,000 square feet of advanced technologies and 50 vehicles representing those advanced technologies and incorporating those advanced technologies. So a consumer, even if they've come there to look at a particular vehicle that they might be interested in, they're going to walk by those 65,000 square feet and become intimately familiar with what's coming in the future.
Now, you've been involved in this whole process, both with the show over the years, because the show goes back, has a very long history. We're going to have the president of this organization come in and talk with us in a bit, and also with your father's work as far as establishing the dealerships in Northern Virginia and the capital region. So you've seen this change, and now you're incorporating for the next generations that are going to be coming into the show. So if I'm a family person and I want to bring my family and I'm going to say, hey son, hey daughter, nephew, niece, this is where we're going in the future. How do they learn from this show so it's a educatable moment?
Yes. Well, as a father of four, I can definitely speak to that. And my children range from ages 8 years old all the way down to 5 weeks.
And they don't escape the show, I bet.
They don't escape the show. Nobody's immune to that. They will all be there. And it's really an exciting show because you use the term educational. It certainly is educational. We can go and show our children what are the advanced technologies out there, how do they affect us, how do they affect our environmental focus, what can we do to make this environment a better place. And then additionally too, it's just plain fun. Maybe for my 2-year-old or my 5-year-old, they can go see Dora the Explorer or Diego and have a good time with them. For parents who have children in strollers, there's 750,000 square feet of space in the DC Convention Center. So that means nice wide aisles. You can take that stroller and push it right down the lane, and the kids have a lot of fun. And for children who are not of driving age, there is no better thrill to get behind the seat, the driver's seat and the wheel of a brand new car.
Now, Kevin Reilly, who is on the board for the International Auto Show, I know you've been working very hard as far as planning all this. And I'm sure you've been interfacing with the manufacturers to make sure that they are imparting this knowledge about what the advances are and how that relates to the future of the automobile industry, but also the American and international publics. How are they looking at this as an educatable moment themselves, and how do you feel they're going to be able to interact with the public that's going to be coming into the show?
Well, in two different ways. We talked about the Advanced Technology SuperHighway, that area, 65,000 square feet that they can go and look at these technologies, but also go to the specific exhibits themselves. Go to the Toyota exhibit, the Ford exhibit, the Hyundai exhibit, the Nissan exhibit, the General Motors exhibit, and those specific exhibits will display their new technologies amongst the cars that they have to sell at that particular moment, and will incorporate a lot of new technology that you can actually purchase and enjoy today.
And I understand that the ones that are there actually representing the different manufacturers are very knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. They know about the new technologies. And of course, this year with the real thrust, the real emphasis on the green technology, if we can use that, Kevin Reilly, is that they're going to have a lot of information, both as far as verbal at the show, but also I would assume printed materials they can take with them.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. If you're an individual looking at a car, maybe it's this year or next year, it's a great way to see all those vehicles, all those technologies in one place. So instead of having to drive dealership to dealership, there really is something about seeing the car up close, sitting inside of it, having a sales professional or product specialist tell you a little bit about the car in a just a very friendly environment there, and a very ease of use environment. You can stroll in and out of one exhibit to the other rather easily.
And it's very relaxed, and it's all day and goes into the evening on each one of the days that it's open. Yep. Are printed materials going to be readily available for the public as they come in? Both the buying public and school children, I assume many other groups will be coming in as well. Certainly,
there's no shortage of printed material. One thing you're going to find at the show, you go to a number of exhibits, bags are the hot item in the show. So you will go to many different exhibits, you'll get those bags because there is a plethora of printed material there, so you'll walk away with a lot of information from the show.
And I know many people are saying, well, you know, this is supposed to be environmentally friendly and it's supposed to be green, and yet they're chopping down all the trees. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's just like in education in general, people need to have information. It's not only on the web, on the internet, you know, Twitter and Facebook and these other things. People like to sit down and really look at this and be able to digest and then share it with the next generations.
Oh, absolutely, without question. And then in terms of conservation of paper, you can go to WashingtonAutoShow.com and actually purchase your tickets online and thus save the need for a printed ticket.
And I would assume also we'll have ways for recycling the materials at the show and all those other kinds of good environmental friendly things.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a backdrop here, Kevin Reilly, of some of the new autos that are going to be shown in this 65,000 square feet of fuel efficiency. And I know that this is not the cars that your dealership handles, but tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here just from the concept platform standpoint, not just selling the car itself.
Yeah, and I believe this is the BMW, and this is one example of the electric vehicle out there. You'll see a lot of examples of electric vehicles out there. One thing I do want to note for the viewing public out there, Advanced Technology is not only electric, it's biofuels, it's ethanol, it's a variety of different things, even advanced petroleum. For example, with Hyundai, we have a new gasoline direct inject engine, which can generate up to 200 horsepower, but yet still get 35 miles per gallon on the highway.
Oh, so that's incredible. Now, look, this is looks like a very stylish vehicle we're talking about here. This is something that probably excite the younger generations as they're coming into the show itself.
I believe that's the Ford Focus BEV vehicle, and Alan Mullally will be speaking on our public policy days at the show, and has done a tremendous job with that organization.
We're going to show two more automobiles here. I believe we have a full electric, so these are called zero emissions vehicles.
That's a Nissan Leaf, and that will be there at the public policy day as well.
And the last one, which I believe is a alternative fuel vehicle as well. In the final minutes that we have left, Kevin Reilly of the Alexandria Hyundai, tell us a little bit, or just a few words about what you would like the public to get out of their engagement with the show, and what would the dealers, but also the federal agencies, like to have as a takeaway from this automobile show.
Well, first let's talk about the public.
And we have about 30 seconds, so
absolutely.
It's got to be a short answer.
We want them to be entertained and informed. Come to the auto show, have a great time, look at all the new different technologies, bring your children, have them get in and out of the cars, have them get behind the driver's seat in a great time, but walk away there knowing more about those vehicles you may purchase and more about what the auto industry is doing to make the world a better place.
And then looking at the alternative fuels, we want them to be able to walk away and say, hey, we really are trying to bring change to the globe. We're trying to use alternative renewable fuel sources, and this is a good thing for everyone.
Oh, without question.
Well, we'd like to thank you for being with us. Kevin Reilly, who is the manager owner of Alexandria Hyundai, being here with us, and also he is on the board for the International Auto Show. But what we're trying to bring you is emphasis and the thoughts and the technologies and the processes that's going to be changing the future here right now, but also as we go out towards 2025, 2050, and moving into the 21st century. Thank you for being with us.